Hi, my name is Leah Munn, and I am currently studying physical therapy assistance. On today's episode of Student Takeover Edition, we will be talking to Dr. Tammy Howard Feltner from the PTA department here at Atlanta Technical College. How are you today, Dr. Feltner?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, while we're talking about physical therapy, our wonderful profession, I would like to know a little bit about your educational background and what made you want to pursue physical therapy.
Okay, well, I received my Bachelor's of Science in Allied Health from Clark Atlanta University. And from there, I was allowed to do a 3-in-3 program where I completed 3 years of undergrad, and then my first year of physical therapy school counted towards my last year of undergrad. And so I did that at University of North Georgia. Back then it was North Georgia College and State University. But that experience allowed me to shorten my time, because otherwise it would have been 7 years, but I was able to cut it down to 6. And then after that, I was able to pursue my doctorate at Alabama State University.
Okay, Birmingham?
Yeah, well, Montgomery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was actually a part of their inaugural class for their DPT program.
That's amazing. Yeah. So now that you became a physical therapist, tell me about the very first day of being a physical therapist. What was that like for you?
It was a little stressful. I was the only physical therapist at the facility that I worked at. I had a passion to do pediatrics when I came out, and I knew that I did not want to be in an acute care setting and hospital setting, so I chose to work in an outpatient pediatric clinic. It was private practice, but I was the only physical therapist. There were other, speech therapists, occupational therapists, but having the responsibility to myself for my patients, that was a big undertaking as a new grad. But fortunately, I had the support of my mentors, and I had other PTs that had graduated with me, some that had graduated sooner, and it was really helpful to be able to bounce ideas off of them.
That's good to have that type of community to have your back and help you out. But going forward, once you had your community and you were feeling strong, what were other challenges that you faced?
I would say being able to stay empathetic without feeling weighed down by some of the experiences my patients endured. As I said, I did pediatric physical therapy, so I was able to see children from as young as 2-3 months old all the way up to 21, because that was where Medicaid would cut off. But the challenges that some of them would face, especially the ones that were in the foster care system and things of that nature, and the reasons for them having to come into physical therapy were some very traumatic experiences. And as a new PT, having the opportunity to meet their need, but also at the same time process the emotional trauma and the different things that those individuals went through, I think it helped to shape the type of individual I was and am as a PT and as just as a person, because you have to have compassion that never fails. You have to have something that we call altruism, meaning that you're putting yourself second while you put the needs of your patient first. And so I always try to make myself available to not just the patients, but their families, their caregivers, and be an advocate for them in the community, whether it was through political means by who I voted for, or trying to find resources for them outside of what I did, because many times in a Black community especially, there was no knowledge of what was available. So I became a catalyst for a lot of families to be able to get the things that they really needed.
Wow, that is really amazing. Yeah. So knowing that you talk about community a lot, that seems to be very important to you. When it comes to your profession and the community, how do you feel that as physical therapists or physical therapy assistants, we help them and push forward in helping people in that area?
Well, one of the tenets of our profession through our national organization, the American Physical Therapy Association, is to be a beacon of light and to really be able to provide services to the community, even when we're not necessarily reimbursed for them. And so we do that by bringing awareness to those that are within our community about health proper health and well-being, the things that you need to do to take care of your body, to take care of your mental capacity, your emotional capacity. And so we implement that and promote it through exercise and through balance and being able to do things that help our bodies to stay in the best shape that they can be. And so I think that sometimes having that avenue to reach people in the community the way that we do, because we spend more time with patients most times than physicians or other specialists, sorry. And so it's important that we are always thinking about the whole person and not just the diagnosis that brought them in the door.
Yeah, that's very true. A lot of people say that focusing more on the diagnosis doesn't feel like you're getting proper care. So as a PT, knowing that you want to look towards more, what are some misconceptions that some patients have about your profession and what you do?
Oh, the nicknames, oh my gosh, physical terrorist. It's like, this person is coming in to hurt my body. But in actuality, you know, there are some things that are uncomfortable. And I think one of the key parts of our profession is the education in giving the patients an understanding of why we're doing what we're doing, the impact that it's going to have on their body, and the long-term outcome if they stick with it, what, you know, they'll be able to benefit from once they get done with seeing us. So I think that the challenge, number one, is the perception that what we're doing is going to hurt them in some type of way, or whatever we're doing, we don't necessarily see immediate results. It takes time for the body to heal. It takes time for the body to recuperate. And so with that, the things that we provide help to augment that healing process. And I think sometimes people feel like, okay, I've seen the therapist for the past 3 weeks now and I still can't, whatever that is. And we have to be able to help them understand that we're just there to facilitate the healing process. We are not magicians. We're not wizards. We're not going to just snap our fingers and you feel better. So
yeah, I think that the mentality of today of just like, I want it my way or I want it fast is really big. So as we look toward the future, as we progress, what do you expect for the profession and what do you wish for the future?
Oh, I think that there should be more of a bridge between technology and what we do. I always say that physical therapy is both an art and a science. We rely on our understanding of anatomy and physiology and how our bodies work, how the body systems work together to promote function. But there is an art in what we do because we're able to play into the psyche of our patients and really tap in to let them see what their full potential actually is. When you're hurt or when you're injured, when you're in pain, there's a part of you psychologically that starts to shut down. You start to pull away. And so we want to be able to break through those barriers that we build up in our minds. All of us have experienced pain in some form or fashion. So we can empathize. And because we are able to make those sort of non-tangible connections with people, that's the art of what we do. And being able to build a rapport with a person to say, yes, you can get through this and I'm going to be there with you along the way. Yeah. But I guess to answer your question, is the technology I think is going to be really key because with the pandemic and all the things that have happened, I think that, you know, we've had to do telehealth and doing things at a more distant pace than what we've done in the past. So our communication is going to be very key and very critical to our survival in this new environment.
All right. That's very good to hear. So listening to that, when we think of the future, how would you help motivate your students going into this profession?
I would say we need to always keep in mind who we're treating. I like to tell you guys all the time that think of your grandmother, think of your niece, your nephew, your child, and imagine that they were the ones that were your patients. How would you want them to be treated? How would you want them to go through the process of receiving physical therapy? So always have an empathetic heart, but also know your stuff. You got to stay on top of what it is that you know about the body, about how it works, about what happens when it's not working, and how we can help fix it.
That's amazing. So as one of your students in your course, you always talk about us being successful at what we do. So what are 2 qualities that we need to have to continue to be successful therapists?
I would say, number one, don't be afraid to fail. Your failures and your mistakes help to cultivate a sense of reflection and an opportunity for you to grow from that and to be a better person. There were plenty of things that I've done in the past that, I feel had I had an opportunity to do it all over again, yes, I would change course. I would, go a different way. But if I constantly bombarded myself with, oh, I got to be perfect. Oh, I've got to stand out. Oh, I've got to be successful at every single point, then there's no opportunity to really grow. You're just striving towards something that may not ever be attained. So always be okay with falling down. A great thing about falling down is you can get right back up. And then the other thing is reach out. Establish that community. I always tell you guys that, you treat your classmates as a family. And as a family, yes, you're going to have your fallout. Sometimes you're going to have your disagreements, but you still come together because y'all have a common goal, and that's to stay together and finish strong. And so you all have that goal in mind, and the strengths and weaknesses that you all have, you can complement each other to get to that finish line and cross it.
Oh, that's very much appreciative, definitely taking that in. So before we wrap up, just one last question. What advice would you like to leave us with today, just going forward for any student wanting to be in the profession or even in the course right now?
I would say keep your dream at the forefront of your mind. Never lose sight of why you were interested in it to begin with. For me, it was the idea of being able to give back and be a resource to people who would otherwise not have access to physical therapy. For years I used to treat individuals who lived in the city, but also in rural areas. And so for them, access to healthcare was really important. So that always was on the forefront of my mind when I was in school, that I want to be a change maker and a catalyst for change for someone else. So whatever that why is for you, hold on to that. And I also encourage students that are not in the profession or maybe interested in the program, get out and expose yourself to a physical therapy practice. Learn about what it is to be a physical therapist, or in our case, a physical therapist assistant, and really expose yourself to the individuals. Most of the time, the clinicians are very open and they want to engage people that are new to the profession in our field and show them how great it actually is.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Feltner, for your time. As we come to the end of another episode, we want to thank you for tuning in and spending your valuable time with us for the Student Takeover Edition. We hope that you found this episode informative, thought-provoking, and entertaining. If you enjoyed what you heard, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so that you can be notified about future episodes. And if you have any feedback or suggestions for topics you would love for us to cover, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We love hearing from our listeners and are always looking forward to ways to improve and grow. Until next time, continue to stay strong so that you can finish strong.